Hey there folks, rinimt here, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. It's time for another event. This is another return event, so I haven't been too concerned about doing it, but I haven't done it on this character. So here we are. Cool, nice background noise. A journey to remember. Excuse me, miss. Do you have a moment? I'm Remumu with the Harbor Herald, and judging by your dress, you're one of those well-traveled adventurers I've heard so much about. No doubt one as worldly as yourself has heard the rumors of the unusual warrior maiden from the far east. Danger constantly follows in her footsteps, and the far easterners I've spoken with claim her dress and fine style are nothing they've ever seen. Do you know what happened the last time a strange warrior from unknown lands came to Eorzea? That upstart Peter Winsome practically stole a parchment from my desk to write his story. Our readership soon doubled, and he's been regarded as the Harbor Herald's finest reporter ever since. That should have been my story. I'll be damned if he beats me to this one. If following her is as dangerous as it sounds, I'll need an adventurer like you to keep me safe. If you're interested, meet me down at Costa del Sol. That's where she was last spotted, so that's where I plan to start. Cool. So yes, this is an FF11 crossover event. Woo, FF11! You have to forgive me if I'm sounding a little off. I've had a cough I cannot shake for several days now, so yeah. I'm pretty sure. No, do I have auto one? I don't think I do actually. Because other stuff. Cool. Ah, you're here at last. I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. She was here just a few bells ago, or so I was told. Look, over there. Could it be? Like I said, y'all forgive me. Begging your pardons, please do not think me strange for asking, but can you tell me if we are close to Sabina? Or perhaps Mara? I fear I am hopelessly lost. Sabina? Mara? Sorry, dear, but you're on the eastern shore of Reborn. Eastern Lanasia, to be precise. I take you're the far eastern traveler that's been the talk of the towers as of late? You've cut quite the warpath through Eorzea from what I've heard. Yes, I hail from the far east, but Reborn? Lanasia? I cannot recall such names. Well, truth be told, I cannot recall much of anything since awakening in strange surroundings. By Beauregard's beard! You mean you've lost your memory? I remember. My name is Iroha. I am training in the way of the glaive, though I fear I am still a novice. For awakening here, I was on a mission to... Forgive me. It is hard to make sense of what little I can recall. The only clear thoughts in my mind are of Master and a powerful technique I've labored to perfect, Amatsu Kiyori. I am certain is essential to completing my mission. Interesting. Remember training above all else. Perhaps that's the key. If you continue to practice your master's teachings, it stands to reason that other related memories might come back to you. Recalling my mission by first recalling master's teachings. Yes, that does seem plausible. Not doubt many of the teachings I have learned have a specific purpose. It would only be a matter of focusing on this particular one. This is a scoop. I've been looking for a far eastern warrior on a special mission. Well, if we're in danger, this isn't some fairy tale like Peter's story. People need to know, but she's no good to us if she can't remember anything. Help her so we can get to the bottom of this. Here, take this map with you. Training won't do any good if you get lost now, will it? Your kindness is greatly appreciated, thank you. To journey alone in a strange land will be a trial all its own, I'm sure. Why we explore the shore south of here. I recall mention that the beach was an excellent place for training. Something about the aquatic wildlife being suitable for sparring. If the creatures here are similar, I would like very much to try my hand against them. And I trust you'll ensure she has every opportunity to do so. No, don't let me keep you. The sooner she remembers her mission, the better. Why don't you try to fill up combating critters along the coast? Perhaps you should rest in Limsa where it's safer. But recall should do nicely. It's the first place you'll see after coming through the gates. special fate, robber crabs. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm turning my sound on my side just so I can hear this music again. Oh hey, cancer's up. Cool. Oh god, I only have 1 AoE at this level. What? Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. So, I believe that will suffice for now. Fighting alongside such a seasoned warrior has been educational. I'm grateful that you chose to accompany me. So, we didn't get to see the start of it because it was already in progress when we got out of the cutscene. Oh, it's fine. Anyway, let's... Yeah. Training at the beach was invigorating. It has been too long since I enjoyed such sport, fighting alongside one as well versed in the arts of war. I would like to think I improved my form by following your example. At first I doubted crabs would be suitable for practice, but I was quite wrong. Yeah, no, back in the day, a huge amount of leveling was up against robber crabs. You fought them so much. They're just... That's why I was like, oh my gosh, robber crabs, because they were just like that memorable from back in FF11. Testing my strength against their hardened shells, swing after swing over and over again. I could easily spend days or even weeks at a time battling them. Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened. If only I could remember who suggested this training regimen. Oh, that was Whimsilag right there. Okay, I can turn on the sound again because we're out of the FF11 music. Oh my, what peculiar stone. I sense something within it. Something familiar. Something dark. I don't want to say what it is, but I don't know if the story quest is gonna say it. Ah! Sorry, it's the FF11 of me, kind of just going fangirl. A grueling battle in the cold against evil made manifest. A lord of shadows, long dead yet somehow resurrected. The fate of the realm hanging in the balance. I remember. Yet, I'm not convinced these visions relate to my mission. Why would Master trust me with the means to slay such a foe? The answer must lie within my memories. They have to. All the more reason I must hurry to complete my training. Perfect Amatsu Kiori. While waiting for your arrival, I asked a couple of travelers from Gridania, I think, where I might find creatures of a more dark and unusual nature. They told me of a place called Hawk Manor, a cursed estate whose grounds play host to various sorts of hellish monsters. These creatures sound like promising opponents, full of the fury and cunning I would expect in a true battle. Now then, let's be off. When we are finished, we can meet in the nearby town. I'm gonna be like, yeah, you probably were trying to do Dynamo Zarkapard. I mean, what? Okay, so we have another fate to go to. Black Shroud. It's gonna be outside Hawk Manor, which I guess makes sense because Hawk Manor was kind of mentioned. I remember the Hawk Manor. Yeah, I remember last time this fate was, or this quest was around 2020. This particular fate outside Hawk Manor. I remember because there's a spawn point near the point for this particular fate. So, of course, in the Realm Reborn areas, there are so many spawn points. Please, I've had to adjust because there were too near to quest points. Yeah, sure. As soon as I go to pull up my phone, a quest appears. 'Tis as if the very air is tainted by darkness. Alright, we're just gonna say screw it and take them all, maybe? If I can hit them all, that'd be a great start. Minions of the Shadow Lord! She did say it! Yeah, so that was the Shadow Lord that was in that vision. Shadow Lord was the original final boss of FF11, actually. Back when the level cap was 50. It was the final storyline boss, really, though you didn't actually have to follow the story in that game to get anywhere. It was very much optional. At level 50, when level 50 was a cap, getting to the Shadow Lord was a nightmare. These demons, they call to mind another story. Another old story. To surpass his limits, a great samurai once fought such fiends. Perhaps by defeating these demons, I can do the same. But yeah, you had to go through Castles of Wall, I think it was? Yeah, Castles of Wall. And it was like all level 55-ish enemies to get there, and oh my god, it was so... I never actually did it at level 50, I did it at level 75. It would seem we have driven them back. Alas, I could scarcely match your pace. This will not do. There must be a way for me to improve more quickly. But yeah, I actually did Shadow Lord at level 75. But you had to sink down to do it. But yeah. It was a tough fight back then. I assume it's not nearly as bad these days with all the updates they've made to help, you know, sustain the game, basically. But yeah, it's... And then also, I mentioned Dynamics Darkabard. That was, like, the big end game. One of the big end games of FF11 at that point. Or at, like, around the level 75 cap and all that. And... where am I going? Down there? And, yeah, like... it was... so many wipes. If I could find all my old pictures from those days, I could find so many wipes to it. But it was either you went for a Shadow Lord or you went for getting a relic weapon. You did not do both in one run unless you were like super fast. Anyway, thank you for once again aiding in my training. To witness such majesty and grace on the battlefield is truly inspiring. It served as a wonderful lesson in combat. Got the Aura Stone Shard. So now what? Oh, we have found yet another strange stone. Yes, it radiates with a warmth much like the last, but the color is white. Do you hear that? We're just along an arduous journey together with a young girl. This vision is not what I expected. We fought many battles together, and we were not alone. No, I dare say our comrades were well beyond counting. But what business would I, a lowly student, have undertaken such missions? I cannot make sense of it. Still, I must thank you for this. Before meeting you, I was hopelessly lost, smothered by a fog of fear and uncertainty. But now I have your light to guide me. You have brought me yet another step closer to completing my training and unlocking the memories still dormant within me. To speak with a few of the patrons here before you arrived, I believe I have found the perfect place to continue honing my skills, the Sagoli Desert. And if what I say is true, a creature of unspeakable terror roams the sands. They say its strength is impossible to gauge, as no one lives to tell its great might. But together, I believe it can lay the beast low. When we have finished, we can take a hard-earned rest in Ulta. So, this is gonna be in Southern Thanalan. Story time or something. The S rank of Southern Thanalan spawns if you do not let a single fate fail for 1 hour straight. When this event is happening, that S rank becomes nigh impossible to spawn because this thing is spawning and spawning and spawning and spawning and spawning. And it's like, oh my gosh. It's bad enough you've got the Hildebrand fate in here, but now you've got this FF11 event fate here as well, and it's just like, this S rank becomes so stupid to spawn. And Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if not a single server, at least on my data center, has spawned this S ring since maintenance. Or at least since, you know, whatchamacallit. But yeah, like, so yeah, Dynamis Darkabard was like one of the big end game things you could do. And you went for the relic, and the relics in FF11 at that point, it took you millions, if not billions of gil to get those relics. And gil was not easy to get unless you were like a hardcore farmer or crafter. And oh my god. I helped with a few of those relics, and you basically had to like specifically like set up to go for those relics, or specifically set up to go do Shadow Lord. I guess it was Dynamic Sword actually, not Shadow Lord, but the same model, same idea, because it was like at the steps of Castles of All and all that. But oh my gosh, all these memories, all these FF11 stories. I played that game for basically almost all of my teenage years, and so it's like a huge part of what I did and why I really got into these FF MMOs and why I enjoy this one so much, probably. There was just, at this point, I don't have the time to do some of the farming in 11. I don't have the friends to play with anymore, and, you know. How is it every time I look away, this stupid thing spawns? Look, over there! Could it be? Are we just like chilling? I know that fiend. Those jagged pincers dripping with venom. It's Circuit, an infamous beast and slayer of countless men. Come, let's bring an end to its legend. See ours grow in its... What do you mean action not fun? Action not learned. Fine, action isn't learned. So yeah, Circuit. Circuit was, again, something, it was a notorious monster. It spawned every so often. I think it had a spawn condition on it. No, it just spawned. It was in... Oh my god. It was in a dungeon somewhere. And you had to like fall down a hole to really access it. It was like a level 30-ish up above or level 50-ish down below leveling area. And so it was a pain in the butt. And... I don't think it breached her, right? No, not. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, so... And it's... dropped an item called the Circuit Claw. This was used to make the Scorpion Harness, which was a very good body piece for melees, especially because it had accuracy. Accuracy in FF11 was huge, and also in Agra. But yeah, accuracy was huge. Trying to find the item because I have the FF4. Do I not have it on this character? Did I never get it? I guess I never got it. But yeah, it was used to make the Scorpion Harness. Huge melee body piece for accuracy, just for your TP gaining melee phase, not for when you were using weapon skills. I think we managed to defeat such a foe. And yet, I find that there is something within me still wanting. I must find a way to overcome this. I must find my way home. I almost said sigh. Yeah. Scorpion Harness was huge for melee. Actually, for a while, the FF14 version was like on my glamour, on my monk for my main character. But I guess I never got it on this character from doing that content. But you guys will see when Stormblood hits post-game. Eventually. I think it's like August or September or something that'll happen. 2022. We're going to the Adventurers Guild. Yeah, I don't want to go too much because I don't like remember the story. But I don't want to go too much and be like, oh, it is like, oh, actually it's mentioned in this particular story, so. And then after that, I can kind of go like nerdy, FF11. There are no words to express my gratitude for your assistance. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine confronting the legendary circuit. If not for you, I would be one of the countless victims who succumbed to its poisonous sting. Or a stone shard. And yeah, where you get it, in FF14, it's like Circuit 2 is what it's called or something. The fate thing for it. There's stone. Yes, it comes to me now. A mortal struggle. Forbidden magics uttered in a final bid for salvation. All makes sense now. The pitched battles, the arduous journeys, the fellowships of adventurers. It was not my life that I recalled, but rather the tales of a great hero I mistook as myself. I suspected such feats were too extraordinary to be my own, and the memories held within the stone have removed all doubt. They were of a journey into the past, one that revealed a horrible truth I dare not repeat aloud. I remember my home, Vanadil. It is not some territory or continent, but an entirely different world. My true memories return to me now, and it is all thanks to you. More importantly, I believe I now understand how to wield Amatsu Kiyori. It should not be long before my path home is clear to me as well. First, I must see my training to its completion. While waiting here, I heard unsettling stories of a foul beast terrorizing Bronze Lake. This is the perfect opportunity to put into practice everything I've learned. Today is the day I wield the power of Amatsu Kiyori. After this last endeavor, let us meet in Limsol Mensa. Alright, so we gotta head to Bronze Lake. Let's not choose Camp Overlook. I always confuse these two areas. Yeah, oh, fully remember the story, unfortunately. And I've run over FF11 things I can say for what's been happening. Arrgh. This one, like, literally right here. No, it is not that one literally right there. It's in this area, though, I think. Yeah, it's over here. It's literally happening right now. Alright. I'm nearing my limit. You are fine. No, I did not come this far to fail now. I will return to my world. To master. Power, it fills me. Let's just like wait at the destination. Nothing. Battle's already begun. Oh, you have to force one. Power of Amatsu Kiyori. Come, Arya. It begins. Okay, we have gained another person in our quest here. Oh, we've upgraded the battle in the dungeon too, apparently. Cool. I think it's Battle in Dungeon 2, right? I think this is Battle music played if you're actually in the dungeons. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. But yeah, the original music was like outside dungeons for battles. Inside or something like that. Alright. Alas, my training is complete, and it's all thanks to you. You were always there to keep me on the path. I will speak with you more, but not here. Let us make for Limsol Mensa. Cool. Oh hey, there's my Red Rush. Or the B-Rank's right over there. I've killed my Red Rush so many times. Oh yeah, Dread Dragon, I think was it a BC&M boss, or was it just a story boss? It was just a story boss. Which happened via the Burning Circle. It's like, Burning Circles were basically instances sorta, but you have to, like, you can only have one group or something in there, or, like, a small amount of groups in at one time. But, yeah. And, like, I think it was, like, maybe 3 groups. It was a weird system. But that's how they basically did their instance battles, was those BCs. Burning circles. At last, the power of Matsu Kiori is mine to command, and my memories are slowly but surely returning. None of this would have been possible if not for your unwavering guidance. To think I could have forgotten a mission so vital. My resolve was unyielding, and my mind focused on the task before me. In the end, I fear I may have jeopardized all I hold dear. As I told you earlier, my home is, or rather was, a world known as Vanadil. Try as we might, its destruction could not be forestalled. But fate saw fit to give me one last chance. I was allowed to travel back in time, to escape through the past before the darkness had consumed all. Together with the heroes of the past, I knew that tragedy could be averted, just as it had been so many times before. Master was the greatest of them all, a hero without equal, whose grand adventures I mistook as my own memories. I cannot but feel I'm forgetting something else important, something that happened to Master. Suppose in time it will come to me. Before I leave, might we go and speak with Mumu? If not for her insistence, I would have been bereft of your assistance. It would be rude not to extend my thanks to her as well. I was actually taking a guess that those stairs would get me to the right spot, but they worked! Iroha told me the good news. Her memory is, for the most part, restored. Perhaps more importantly, her training is complete. If you hadn't come with me to Costa del Sol, I dare say she'd still be swinging at crabs along the beach. Would I be hitting the right button? Or right key? No. Now I have you here, I'd very much like to talk to you about my story. What about what you were doing before we arrived? How exactly did you come to be here in Eorzea? And you say you went back in time trying to save your world? Yes, you have the right of it. No life was spared by the darkness. None save for mine, that is. Fate intervened and I was sent back to the past. To a time where I could find heroes capable of saving Vanadil. That is how I was reunited with Master, although at a much earlier time than I anticipated. Last thing I remember is a fierce battle in a strange light. When next I awoke, I was here. To be torn away from Master when I was needed most, my heart feels like it may burst. How awful. You were close then. Master was like family to me, an exceptional warrior besides. I spent my entire life striving to become such a hero and live up to the legends I so fondly remember. It all began with a stone, or so the story goes. In ages past, a sentient jewel, enormous and beautiful, banished the darkness. Its light filled the world with life and brought forth mighty gods. The world entered an age of bliss. That is, until the gods fell into slumber. That world was my home, Vanadil. It was home to 3 great nations, the Kingdom of Sandoria, the Republic of Bastok, and the Federation of Winders. Powerful as they were, though in times of strife, they would turn to a single hero, my master. Be it a demon of rage seeking vengeance, or a spiteful god, our destruction, Master was always there to pull us back from the brink of oblivion. Oh my god, all the memories! Oh. As long as there is light and life in the world, the legend of Vanadil's greatest hero will live on. There's little wonder these stories were the first to spring back to my mind. I have all but memorized them. No matter how many times I asked, you would always... Oh, please excuse me. For a moment, when I looked at you, something in your eyes reminded me of Master and I. Don't worry, be yourself over it. I imagine our friend here often has that effect on people. I realize how ridiculous this seems. Anyone in their right mind would think it's some fanciful dream. But for me, this world is the dream, and now it is time to awaken. When next I open my eyes, I'll be home in Vanadil, once more at Master's side. This may be just a dream, but it is one I shall never forget. Thank you for everything. It would seem I'm not yet ready to return. Is this perhaps the will of the goddess? If it is by her will, then so it shall be. I vow to work hard every day to become a warrior worthy of your teachings. Then, when the time comes, we shall meet again. Here in Eorzea, or perhaps in the waking world. There goes the greatest story I'll never get to write. An adventure from another world, traveling back in time to save her people. Who's gonna believe such a silly tale? I'll leave the flights of fancy to Peter. But for her sake, I hope she finds her way home. Wherever that may be. So apparently that cutscene was just like, we're gonna bust out all the final bosses of FF11 and all these major characters like Prish and yada yada yada. I saw the Fighters of the Crystal. Awesome song, by the way, look it up. Seriously, Fighters of the Crystal is a great song. No, FF11 really just has some good music too, so. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could like just hardcore go into like so many FF11 memories. I think I too actually go into some more when we hit the other FF11 content that's permanent in this game. And Stormblood, you know. It's coming like August, September, somewhere around there. But yeah, so I guess that's gonna do it. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider, oh my gosh, so many memories. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. If you really enjoyed it, consider supporting the channel. All support greatly helps keep making content like this and more. You can find the links for that, such as a link to me on Patreon down in the description below, along with links to me on social media. So thank you again for watching, and until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye! So many memories. Arrgh.